Well, greetings there, YouTube. Jack here. Jack's Low Carb Journey, episode 24. I've decided that we're going to stop doing that probably at episode 25. If not, maybe we'll do 30 because we can just do. But that's got to stop. It's going to get out of hand. It's going to be ridiculous, and half the video is going to be me playing with my hands. Y'all don't need to see that. No one needs to see that. So anyway, it was just some goofy thing I started, and I'm OCD, so I can't stop. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, as usual, I'm going to give you an update on my weight loss, and it's a good one today. But we're going to talk about a question I'm getting from a lot of people in my 40-day trial where people are following healthy keto. And it is basically, why do I feel so damn hungry? You people said that this was going to be great, and I would not be hungry, and I'm hungry. And all I can think about is my next meal, and all I want to do is eat, and what the hell is going on? Well, the good news is this too shall pass, but I'll go through it. 5 reasons that people feel that way, especially when they're first starting keto, and then what the solution to each one of those are. We'll do that in just a second. My weight loss, I weighed in today to 18.6. That is down from my lowest weight so far of 219.6, exactly 1 pound. I do consider little half-pound fluctuations to be little mini victories and all, but when you go a full pound down, I believe you've gone a full pound down. I've been kind of stuck in the 219, 220 range since the 26th. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days to really get out of that world. I got down. I had some losses in there, but to get down from 220 to 218, about 6-7 days, like we just talked about in a recent episode of this, it happens. We have plateaus. In that period of 6 days, here's what I had. I had a 0.6 of a pound loss, followed by a 0.6 of a pound gain, followed by a full pound loss, followed by the same number, followed by a 0.4 of a pound gain, followed by a 1.4 pound loss, bringing me down to 218.6. So you can see that there is that thing. And the closer you get to where you want to be, the more of those stalls you're going to deal with. I'll tell you what I did during these stalls. I didn't do anything for a couple days. I did nothing, including I went ahead and had my weekend glass of Chardonnay. It's not a big deal. As long as the numbers aren't consistently going up and they're still trickling down over time, it's weight loss. It's okay. You're only going to lose so much at a time. But yesterday, I added more walking. I added, like we did an episode about walking. I walked about an extra mile, and I cut my calories by about 300, and I kept my carbohydrates under 10 for the day. Poof. It may have come off anyway. It didn't hurt to do it. It was a partial fast, and we'll talk about fasting more in the future. Today we're going to talk about the opposite of fasting, feeling hungry. So I'm going to start out with the 5 reasons people have this issue. And I might sound a little harsh. There's something that society needs to learn. Being told the truth is not somebody being harsh. Now, I have a lot of passion for what I do. I have a passion for teaching, and I have a passion for making sure that I am understood and conveying what I know to be true with passion to my audience. That's why I've been successful for 11 years as a podcaster. So that can feel harsh to people that are used to people trying to coddle them and make them feel good about things before they tell them the truth, or are willing to give them pleasantries instead of the truth to make them feel good. You will not get any coloring books here. You will not get any puppies to pet. There are no safe spaces. There is only the truth as I understand it, and I try to be clear with my opinion. Today is mostly opinion, but I believe it is extremely well-founded, fact-based opinion. I can't prove what I'm going to tell you, but I can give you mountains of evidence to back it up. And if you don't like it, don't be angry with me and don't think I'm being mean to you. If you're watching this right now, I don't know you're watching it. This is not a live feed. I can't see that Karen's out there watching Jack being upset. Okay? You got me? Yeah? I'm just speaking to the camera the truth that you probably want to hear. You wouldn't be watching this. So here we go. Number 1, the main reason you feel hungry when you start a keto diet is you are an addict and somebody took away your damn heroin. You have been living on carbohydrates and you have been shoving food into your pie hole recklessly for a long time. Not every one of you, but if you are significantly overweight, that is the truth. You have been eating too much for too long with zero control. A person that uses a drug that way, we call an addict. A person that uses food that way is an addict. So the number one reason you feel that way is you're an addiction and somebody took away the thing you're addicted to. Number two, it takes time for your body to become fat adapted. You have been fueling your body mostly with sugar for years, most of you. And now you're telling your body, go use fat. Your body was born perfectly capable of using fat. But if you laid in a bed for, let's say, 3 weeks under a medically induced coma, and they took good care of you, they gave you good nutritional supplements and all that, somebody even came in every day while you were knocked out and kind of moved your legs around, the first time you try to get up, it's going to be hard to walk, and it's going to take several weeks of using your legs to get them to work right again. Everybody that's ever been through anything that traumatic and has been on their back that long, even if they weren't in a coma, has experienced the atrophy that happens to muscles when they're not used. The same thing has happened. You have had atrophy in the ability of your body to burn fat. When your body starts burning fat, you will not be hungry. One of the reasons you can eat so much damn food in the very beginning and people think calories don't count is because your body can't use the damn fat. It doesn't know how. Because you've been using so much sugar for so long. But eventually your body will fat adapt. But it takes time for that to happen. Number three, you are obsessed with food quantity versus food quality. Let me tell you what the majority of you, I can give you, like I was standing over your shoulder, reading your mind experience that you've had. You've gone to a restaurant and you've looked at a huge menu full of food. You started trying to pick what you're going to eat. And you pick out an individual dish and you go, I wonder if that's going to be enough food. Not sure. Maybe I should get this other thing that has a taco added to the same plate. Then maybe it'll be enough food. Really? Like, if you ate the food they brought you and you were still hungry and you told your waiter to bring you more, they wouldn't. Like, he's not going to walk around and go, does anybody care for dessert? Like, that's it. But you're sitting there obsessed. If you've ever had that experience even once, this applies to you. How many times do you sit and look at food and think, is that going to be enough? Or, I need to take one more before you've even eaten. We have become a society, and I'm not immune to any of this. How do I know? Because I did it, right? I'm not picking on you. Again, sorry, Snowflake. There is no safe space here. There just isn't, okay? We are a food-obsessed society. They put pictures of food and sizzling things and crispy things and all of that shit in our face all the time. Whenever there's a celebration, we go eat. Whenever there's a birthday, we have cake. We are a society obsessed with food, and we're obsessed with food in mass quantities instead of trying to be obsessed with food in mass quality. That's the problem. So you're obsessed with quantity over quality of your food. Next, you are focused on what you cannot have versus what you can have. That's why I say in at least the first 40 days, you do not need keto shakes or keto ice cream or keto cookies or keto brownies or any of that shit. You need to focus on what the majority of the food you'll be eating for the rest of your life is going to be and rejoicing in it. Wonderful, thick, cooked, crispy bacon, beautiful steaks, slow cooked pork, avocados, high quality fats, coconut oil, beautiful, beautiful grass-fed butter. I'm having lamb chops today. They're going to be sous vide for like 3.5 hours because they're shoulder chops. Cheap cut. It's cheaper than most half-assed decent grass-fed beef because it's a tough cut. You throw it in a sous vide machine for 3 hours while you do your job and you eat it for lunch. It's like butter. I get to eat that. I'm not worried about the fact that I don't get a waffle. Don't be going to make fucking chaffles when you're still an addict. Right? You got to break the addiction first. So that's the other thing. We are focused on what we can't have versus what we can. That's the other reason you feel so hungry. And likely for you, number 5 is eating has become a habit. We eat habitually. If you have ever sat down with a bag of chips and just started eating it while you're watching TV and you're doing two things at the same time and you look down and the bag was almost empty, you're like, holy crap, that's habitual eating. That is not hunger-based eating. That is the mind and the biology of addiction when you combine carbohydrate and fat. That is the ancestral instinct that when we were running around in the woods and we didn't, have a supermarket and winter was coming, and you found a tree with a sweet fruit on it, you just, right? It's hardwired into you. But now we've evolved to a point where we have abundance all the time, year round. And we don't need to be doing that anymore. But when you're mindlessly eating, you're mindlessly drinking calories or drinking alcohol, meaning you're doing something and you're not even thinking about or enjoying the food, that is habitual eating. When you eat 3 times a day plus 2 snacks, that is habitual. You've formed a habit. So now I've bitched at you, I've taken away your puppy, your crayons, and your safe space. I've melted your snowflake uniqueness. Don't I owe you an explanation of how to fix all this? Okay, number 1, the addiction. It doesn't even matter. It is irrelevant. Don't worry about it. Just do the recovery work, which is eating the right food and being stringent to yourself, and quit whining and crying like a baby that you don't feel good. You will get over it. That is it just will happen. The addiction part is the easy part. Within 2 weeks, you're probably going to be 90% through it. You'll still have cravings. It's going to happen, but you'll be in control. The other thing is, during the first week or even 2, you can eat, and I think I've said this, and some of my people don't seem to understand this. And I guess they're trying to emulate what I'm doing now versus what I did when I started. I think I've said this 100,000 million times, right? You can eat in the first week or 2 as much calories as you want if you keep your carbs under 20. I know I said calories matter. They do. But if you need it as your methadone to get through the first phase of breaking the addiction, and as long as your carbs are still 20 or less, eat that extra piece of cheese. Eat that extra piece of bacon. Have that snack. Do 3 meals a day in the first week to 10 days, right? Do it. It'll be okay. You'll probably still lose weight because your body doesn't even know what to do with all this fat in absence of carbohydrate yet. That's why you have to get fat adapted. So that's the solution. Your first week or 2, if you feel like you need more food, just eat it. Don't limit yourself. Just don't eat carbs, okay? I don't even care if you eat garbage, freaking protein and fats the first. I don't care if it's Hormel pepperoni the first week. Whatever it takes to get you through it. But at about 10 days, you need to start monitoring your caloric intake. Gotcha? Got it? Next, the fat adaptation problem. That's like the addiction problem. It's not a problem. If you do the program, your body will fat adapt. That's when you'll start shedding weight, and instead of just that big water dump in the beginning, that's when you'll start losing, 1 pound to 4 pounds a week, somewhere in there. Because your body's like, oh, I remember how to do this shit. Fat, num, 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 and it starts grabbing little bits of fat from all over your body and saying, there's too much freaking fat in this being. And if he's still eating really good, maybe he's eating a little less than he needs, but shit. If he's eating less than he needs and everything's really super good, we need to rev up the metabolism, and this is the time to get rid of all this excess fat. Because clearly there's enough out there that if he feels hungry enough or she feels hungry enough, he'll eat more. So let's do the bidding. The body has to make the transition. It will. You don't have to worry about it. Just follow the program. It'll happen. Number 3, the quantity versus quality thing. You need to start appreciating food for what it is instead of how much of it there is. A lot of times when I post pictures of my meals, and I will set them up like a restaurant. I did an egg dish yesterday. I didn't post a picture of it, I don't think, but it was some leftover carne piccata, which is a really great cheap meat. It's like a beef shoulder blade, and they tenderize the shit out of it in little pieces. So it's a tough cut that's been tenderized. I just cooked that the other night. We had a taco salad with it. I did chili seasoning and stuff like that in it, simmered it down, made it even more tender. We put it on a salad. I had some left over. So I took some of that, threw it in the pan, heated it up, added, 1.5 ounces of cherry tomatoes cut up into little pieces, a handful of jalapenos, and then I took 2 duck eggs and scrambled them up. And these are beautiful duck eggs from my backyard. When I cracked those eggs and put them in before I scrambled them in, I took a second. I looked at those yolks from those ducks that I've raised since they were little babies. That right now, this time of year, they're feeding on grasshoppers like crazy. Their protein's through the roof. Their quality is this is the best quality egg you get year round. And those yolks are like this golden orange. And before I scrambled that egg and cooked it, I looked at that with a little bit of reverence. and thought how fortunate I am that I get to shepherd these animals and consume that food. Whether you shepherd the animal or not, grace, right? If you're religious, you would say grace, reverence for the food that's in front of you. I had an appreciation for it, and I scrambled it up, and I dumped it in the pan, and I made it. And I took an avocado, and I made it into slices. And then I arranged it on a nice plate, not a paper plate. Though sometimes I eat off paper plates, but today I was like, I'm going to really appreciate this. And I put it on a really nice plate, and I laid the avocado on it like I was a chef. Like this, sliced on the bias, nice and thin, all the way across it, so that when I ate it, I could take little tidbits of the slightly warmed avocado from the residual heat. Oh yeah, and there's some beautiful cave-aged, rugged cheddar that has little crystals of calcium in it because it's so aged. I took that cheese and I had my ounce measured out, and I had one little bite before I put it in to think about it and think, wow, this is really great. And I thought, if I really melt the hell out of that, it's going to get all greasy and oily. But if I just set it on top of the hot, it'll get a little melty, and I'll keep that in there. So I did that, and I put those avocados on it. And I'll put up a picture like that, and people go, well, do you only arrange your food like that because you're taking pictures of it for like Facebook and Instagram and stuff? And my answer is, I might put a little more effort into it if I know I'm going to post a picture. But pretty much every meal I make, I put thought into the presentation as though I were going to give that food to somebody I really liked, that I wanted to take care of, that I wanted to feel special. So if I had you coming over to my house, I'm not just going to flop the food down and just throw it in front of you like some shitty diner, right? If I care about you, you're my friend, and I want you to feel special, well, I'm going to take that food and I'm going to make that look beautiful for you. And I'm going to put it in front of you so that you feel special. You feel like, you know what, Jack gives a shit about me. Look all the effort he put into this meal. And because it's visually appealing, it's going to be more appealing to your palate. Any chef will tell you that. Well, don't you care about yourself? Don't you want you to feel special? So do it for yourself. It doesn't take, people are like, you must put a lot of work into that. It just takes an extra minute. It takes an extra minute. And you know what I'm doing when I'm doing that? I'm contemplating the wonderful nature of the food that I'm eating. So I don't give a shit if it's a small quantity at that point, because I know the quality of what I'm about to receive. Start treating yourself like a special guest every day. When you make a meal for yourself, instead of saying, since it's a special guest, we're going to go make 500 things and make a giant smorgasbord, say, I'm going to cook for this special person that I care about, me and my family, as though they're a special guest, and I only have a little bit of food, a meal's worth. But it's the super highest quality stuff I have. It's the fattened calf, and I'm going to make it special in every way that I prepare it. And I'm going to have reverence for it when I do. All of a sudden, quantity, who gives a shit? Look what I get. Look what I get to create. Look what I get to eat. Look what I get to consume. Look what I get to feed my body with. Do you feel me? I hope so, Snowflake. Last, your eating has become a habit. The food you eat, the way you eat it, the mindlessness with which you consume it, all of it has become a habit. And so it is difficult for you to get your head around, in the first 3 weeks, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day, or first week or 10 days, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day and a couple snacks. And then after that, I'm going to start using this app that not only tells me how many calories or carbohydrates and everything, it also tells me calories. And I'm going to rein in my calories. And if I can, I'm going to strive to go to a 2 meal a day life. I think that's the easiest way to do this. You don't have to. But if you're doing 2 meals a day, you're doing some level of intermittent fasting. And the later you push your first meal, the easier the bridge between will be. And the mornings, you're so busy, it's easy to let go. And you throw a bulletproof coffee in there in the morning and you're good, right? So it takes time to do that. But all of a sudden, getting up in the morning and not eating is a habit. Getting up in the morning and making a coffee a certain way is a habit. Getting your lunch ready the night before or getting it ready that morning and eating it a certain way, leaving the break room, taking a walk, whatever it is, becomes a habit. It takes about 30 days for that to happen. So don't bitch about it. Just do it. And know that in 30 days, you'll probably lose somewhere around 7 to 9% of your body weight. You'll be fat adapted. You'll have a reverence for your food and its quality. You'll care about yourself more. You'll be over the addiction. You'll be over the hunger pains. You'll be focused on quality. You will stop giving a shit about what you can't have. You will see all of the little keto treats as what they are, treats, instead of something to be shoving in your hole every day. and you'll have formed new healthy habits in your life. Aren't you important enough to do that shit for 30 days? If you're not important enough to yourself to do that shit for 30 days, then I got two solutions. One, do it anyway, and maybe you'll become important enough. Or maybe you're not ready for this, and maybe you need to go do some counseling and some self-worth and start valuing yourself. Because the reason we abuse ourselves with food and alcohol and lifestyle is we cease to value ourselves as the most important person in our own lives. Because society has lied to you. Society has told you that if you value yourself as the most important person in your life, you're a narcissist. That is the biggest load of stinking, smelling, fucking bullshit that's ever been sold to the American people. It's one of the reasons you're so fucked up, and they do it because it makes you easy to sell garbage to. It makes it easy to put you on drugs for the rest of your life if you think that putting yourself first is narcissistic. Let me tell you something about narcissists. You ask any actual psychologist, how do narcissists feel about themselves? They loathe themselves. They hate themselves. They act like they're so important. They act like they're so great, but they have self-loathing and self-hatred. The reason you should put yourself first is the same reason if the mask drops in an airliner and people are going to start passing out from lack of oxygen, the first thing you do is put your mask on. The person next to you, even if they pass out, there's plenty of time to get a mask on them. I don't care if it's your little kid, because your little kid ain't going to be able to put the mask on you. So shut up, put your mask on, and then take care of everybody else. The only way you can be there for your loved ones, take care of them, be the guy that's willing to take the bullet, is to be able to move fast enough to get in front of the damn gun. And that means you have to put your needs, not your wants, but your needs first. And you need to be healthy, and you need to be happy. And here's the other thing that maybe nobody's ever told you. You fucking deserve to be happy. You deserve to be healthy. Got it? You fucking deserve it. It's your fucking right. But you have to fucking do it. I think we'll end there. Remember, guys, the answer to and cause of all your problems is in the mirror. Like I said, no fucking safe spaces here. This is the truth. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. And I hope in spite of the fact that once in a while I tell you the fucking truth using the fucking word, you will share this with your friends. Take care. I'll be back tomorrow with something else.